Information Minister has pleaded with Ghanaians to bear with the government on the challenges that have come up since the implementation of the free senior high school policy. Mustafa Hamid said the problems are largely due to the admission of more first-year students than the schools can accommodate. Speaking with members of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly AMA at a town hall meeting Monday, Mr. Hamid was confident government has done enough to address the challenges. My colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson has more in this report.
The town hall meeting is part of government efforts at deepening the governance system at the local level to engender grassroots participation in the decision-making process. Participants at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly session included personnel drawn from the security services, traditional leaders, traders, among others. Greater Accra Regional Minister Ishmael Ashite, who served as the chairman of the event, in his opening remarks admonished participants to desist from peddling falsehood about government policies.
The development of this region and the nation at large is our responsibility and a shared one indeed. Let us therefore resolve to dialogue with government when such opportunities are created, to understand its policies and programs rather than to peddle falsehood.
Information Minister Mustafa Hamid said government was not oblivious of the challenges that have come with the implementation of free SHS.
Begging the Ghanaian people that let us bear with the challenges of free SHS. Let us not allow anybody to deceive us that because there are challenges, let us cancel the system. I beg you, if we cancel it and continue the way that we used to continue, this country will never ever develop.
He said government could rightly claim credit for stabilizing the electricity supply situation because it has ensured that funds have been available to keep the generating units running.
We said that energy is critical to a nation's development, not for the upper class of society, but for artisans, for small-scale businesses. We have worked very hard to restore power stability in our country. Today, we have forgotten that there was doomsday in this country. We forgot it. When we talk, people say, oh, but you didn't add any more megawatts of power to what was there. It is not that. We had said that it was about money. There was no money to power these power generating plants. But we said that when we come to power, we will find the money to be able to do it.
Mayor of Accra, Ning Ejesoa, on his part outlined series of interventions put in place to improve revenue mobilization for the Assembly.
And on the issue of revenue mobilization, we need to improve upon our revenue mobilization schemes that we have. The Assembly has therefore revised its revenue mobilization strategy to ensure that enough revenue is generated to carry out more developmental activities for the city. The strategy has taken into consideration a more mechanized and modernized revenue collection system and shall be rolled out beginning 2018.
Members of the public who sat through the session got the opportunity to ask questions, criticize, and also offer suggestions.
Managers of the Kumasi Shoe Factory have fought off claims by Defence Minister Dominic Nitowell that their mismanagement has left the factory in a deplorable state, unable to break into the Ghanaian market and therefore compelled to lay off its workers. Revived in 2012, the DHOC Footwear Division Limited, as it is now called, was expected to employ 2,000 workers 3 years after its revival. It currently has a workforce of just 49, with the security agencies, its target market, still importing shoes. Defence Minister Dominic Nitowell last week blamed the situation on the ineffectiveness of its managers. Acting General Manager of the factory, Ni Kone Lai, disagrees. He blames the situation on a lack of policy direction from government to force the security agency to patronize their products.
The Honourable Minister is reported to have said that the DHOC Footwear Division Limited trained over 200 workers, but because of irregular orders, only 1/3 of them are currently working. This is very true, but we want to respectfully ask the Honourable Minister why this particular challenge should be attributed to the management of DHOC Footwear Division Limited. as stated by CTFM in a news article on their website. The company was incorporated and tasked with the sole mandate to produce security boots and shoes for purchase by the armed forces and other security agencies. The company is also to produce school sandals, that's Achimota sandals, and school shoes for public and private schools in Ghana. It is a fact that all the government security agencies, including the Ghana Police, the Ghana National Service, Fire Service, the Prison Service, Immigration Service, and even Ghana Armed Forces still order their boots and shoes from China and India. At the commencement, the company's projection was to increase its workforce from 200 to 800 within 3 years. However, the security agencies who constitute our primary market have refused to buy our boots and shoes and continue to import them from India and China. Again, no definite government policy has been outlined. Directly, the security services and public schools to wear made in Ghana shoes, boots, shoes, and sandals. It is therefore unfair that the management of the company will be blamed for having reduced the workforce from 200 to 49.
Another concern raised by the minister was the failure of the managers to render accounts, but General Manager Ni Kone Laye insists they have done that but are yet to hear from the minister.
The Honorable Minister is reported to have said that the Ghana Armed Forces, who are also shareholders in the business, have been sidelined, with no account rendered to them by the private managers of the facility. With great sadness, this statement is untrue, and we would wish to set the record straight. Ladies and gentlemen, immediately after the swearing into office of the Honorable Minister of Defense, a meeting of the company board was held at Bema Camp, with the company's management in attendance. The agenda of the meeting was to discuss all the issues confronting the company and to forward same to the Honorable Minister and the Chief of Staff then, since both of them had just assumed office and were not yet briefed about the activities and challenges of the company. It was resolved at the said board meeting, which was also the last meeting of the board in 2017, that the board chairman, Dr. Kalai, and Brigadier General Nicholas Andor, the Director General of the Defense Industry Department at Bema Camp, and board member should arrange to meet the newly sworn-in Defense Minister to hand over a dossier of all the company's challenges and the proposed solutions to those challenges. An appointment was made through the Chief Director of the Ministry of Defense to meet at the Honorable Minister, to meet him at 1 p.m. However, the Honorable Minister was held up at the Plaster House, and we patiently waited till 8 p.m. to meet him. We met him for 15 minutes, sorry to present of the content of the dossier, and handed some together with copies of the minutes of the last board meeting to the Honorable Minister as per the board meeting resolution. We subsequently, through the Defense Industries Department, handed over the same dossier to the CDS. As we hold this press conference today, the 11th of December 2017, we are sad to announce that we have not even received an acknowledgement letter from the Honorable Minister.
The Eastern Regional Directorate of the Ghana Health Service has intensified surveillance of the meningitis disease, which has claimed the life of a second-year student of Koforidua Sectec. The deceased, Dennis Champong, died last Friday after he was rushed to the hospital the night before he complained of fever, chills, and severe headache. The Regional Health Director, Dr. Charity Sapong, confirmed bacterial meningitis as a cause of death of the 15-year-old second-year student. She said fluid collected through a lumbar puncture procedure from the deceased before his death and sent to the laboratory proved positive.
We we got information about a case from Septec that had been sent to the regional hospital, and I think they were suspecting meningitis. The doctor in charge who received the case took all the necessary investigations, including a lumbar puncture, and necessary investigations were carried out, whilst the 15-year-old boy was also, treated, put on treatment. I must say, yes, he passed off the following day in the early hours of the morning, that is on the 8th. He was admitted late on the 7th and passed on the 8th. But then the results that came out showed that yes, it was positive for meningitis. So immediately the Regional Health Directorate as well as the New Jabe District Health Directorate were all informed, and a team was immediately dispatched to the school.
Now, as part of measures to check the spread of the disease, the health director said about 22 other students who had close contact with the deceased before his death are under strict monitoring by health officials.
It's very unfortunate that our young boy couldn't make it, but then we've put in all the necessary things to ensure that such a thing doesn't happen again. The school is also being supported to revamp its infirmary, because it's one of the things that we noticed that they needed to revamp it to make it very active, so that any student that gets the slightest ailment will be referred to the infirmary, and where it's necessary will then be referred to the hospital in very good time. We are intensifying surveillance. We are liaising up with the Ghana Education Service at the regional level to see how best, together as a team, we can look at the schools and strengthen or build the infirmaries.
Elsewhere, students of the St. Martin Senior High School at Insuam are demanding an immediate closure of the school after 20 of their colleagues were hospitalized. The agitated students, who have been warned by school authorities not to speak to the press, suspect a possible outbreak of influenza or meningitis in the school and want to be allowed to go home for medical checkup. The students are particularly alarmed, coming on the back of the recent incident at Kumasi Academy, where 4 students died within a space of 1 week from what was eventually diagnosed as swine flu. Maxwell Kudoko visited the school and joins me on the phone with details. Hello, Maxwell. Now, we're told that 20 students were rushed to the hospital. What was exactly found wrong with them?
Well, Israel, the incident started yesterday in the evening, where 10 students, 8 of them were female and 2 male, were rushed to the Instanwem Government Hospital. According to the medical superintendent of the hospital, Dr. Kofi Ablo, out of the 10 who reported to the hospital last night, 2 of them, the male, series of tests were run on them and they were diagnosed of malaria. The 8 other female who came last night came to complain of difficulty in breathing. The doctor says they ran series of tests on them and they realized that nothing was wrong with them, so they were discharged accordingly. He says this morning another 10 bats were also rushed to the hospital complaining of same, especially the female students. He says a series of tests were run on them and nothing was found out of the examination they conducted, so all of them were also discharged accordingly. Dr. Ablo says that records at the hospital show that almost every time when there is time for exam, the students record such incidents where students are rushed to the hospital without any sickness. So he believes that it is what people call examination fever that is causing this phenomenon. But he says that this year's number has increased tremendously. He said in the past they sometimes record about 4, sometimes 2 or 3 incidents, but this year incident is so high. But he confirmed to me that so far as the hospital is concerned, there has not been any issue of influenza or meningitis at the hospital for those who were reported at the facility, only 2 of them were diagnosed of malaria. They have been treated and then discharged accordingly.
Now, Maxwell, have you gotten a reaction from the school authorities yet, especially concerning this fact that the students tend to complain of examination fever around this time?
Well, I spoke with Assistant Headmaster in charge of academics, Mr. K. Opante, and he tells me, in fact, he confirmed that these are the ones that record but he added that this year's number have increased. He said the majority of those who are rushed to the facility are or Form 1, and mostly they are female students. So he also believed that he said that the counseling unit of the school this morning organized a counseling section for all the female students, especially the freshers, and then urged them not to be afraid of an examination. So he said that they are trying to counsel the students. They are trying to build their mental psyche. They want to build their psyche as they prepare for exams in 2 days' time. He also said that out of the cases that were recorded, only 2 of them are said to be, if you like, the 2 of them are suffering from asthma. So he believed that the change in weather could also be a factor of their plight. But he also says that the school is doing well to counsel the students and then also ensure that they build their mental psyche as they prepare for exams in 2 days.
All right, thank you very much, Maxwell Kudoko, with that update. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. We have more stories coming up. Please stay on. The Electricity Company of Ghana says it has substantially resolved the computer malfunction that left over 40,000 of its prepaid customers unable to buy electricity since the beginning of the month. Many of the customers in some of Accra's most populous areas had to throng the ECG project office to reactivate their cards they used to buy power as a result. Officials told journalists at a news conference on Monday there were only a few complainants yet to be resolved. Nancy Emefa-Dradozie have a report there was still a substantial number of stranded customers at the ECG project office when she visited after the news conference.
Most of the affected customers of the Electricity Company of Ghana have had to survive the last few days without electricity at great inconvenience and with implications for their businesses. Though officials of ECG have consistently assured them of a resolution, many continue to sleep in darkness. The company's managing director, Samuel Boachiapia, was on hand to offer yet another assurance.
We have substantially resolved the BOT challenge. Customers should therefore visit their district offices to do normal business with ECG. What we are doing today is mopping up where some 40 cards need outright replacement and others who deposited their cards earlier are at our offices for collection.
At the ECG project office, however, the story was different. Though the queues are not long as last week, some of the customers complained they have had to spend several hours in the sweltering heat just to collect their cards.
I'll say almost 1 week now. I brought my card because of the congestion. We were asked to envelope it and then drop at the reception. I did, and since then I've been coming here daily. The names are being mentioned and my name is not found. Unfortunately, I came today and the problem is that my card is misplaced, so I have to get a new card.
Last week, Wednesday, I sent my sister to come and buy prepaid. We live in Latibia Okoshi, and it's really upsetting because when she came, there was a queue, and they asked her to come because there was an error. And up to now, today is Monday, we heard on the news that everything has been resolved, but we came to find out that there's still queue.
I don't know, I brought my car Thursday. They said I should come here Monday morning to come and check it. I come here in the morning. They said I should go and look at the list they put it on the walls. I find my name there. My card is not yellow. But now I'm talking to you. Since morning I came here, I can't find my card.
Others had a different problem.
What is your name?
Wilfred Na.
Wilfred?
Yeah.
So I see Wilfred Na here.
Yeah, so now that's my number. Yeah, okay. That's my name.
All right. So do you know where you're supposed to go from here?
I don't know, Biza. The name and the number is here, but I don't know the next step that I'm going to take now.
information whether my name is in. So my name is Josiah Kofi, so I'm going through the J. If the J, I can't see the J. Josiah Kofi. Okay. If I can't see my name on the J column, I have to go to the K. Josiah Kofi. This one is Josiah Kwe.
Okay.
Yes.
So how long have you been looking for your name?
Oh, it's in like 20 minutes now.
20 minutes?
Yeah, 20 minutes now.
But have you reported to any of the...
I just want to go through. If I didn't, I'll go and do my report over there.
Nancy Emefajadosi, Joy News.
Now, police officers have commenced the process to arraign the suspect who stabbed to death a member of the Old Vandals Association over the weekend at the University of Ghana, Legon. At the scene of the incident Monday morning, the blood stains had been cleaned after a visit by the police. Authorities of the Commonwealth World say they are also working to ascertain the veracity of the claim that the suspect is a former member of the hall. It is still unclear what the suspect and the deceased were arguing over, but some former students of the University of Ghana have condemned the acting intellectual argument should not lead to violence. Maxwell Agwagwa has been speaking with some of them.
It's unfortunate. It's an act that needs to be condemned. As I said earlier, there's no justification for it. I don't think that's an argument. I don't know what kind of argument it was, but I don't think there's an argument in this world that will lead someone to stabbing the other. When we were on campus as students, we used to engage in a lot of heated arguments, political issues, ethnic lines, sports. We did all those things. We could engage in about 3-4 hours of arguments. And then per what we are hearing from Fafraha to Legon, there's no more than 2 hours. So you don't expect any one of them to stab the other. And I don't know what kind of argument it really was. But even if it's an argument that can lead to destruction, there is no room for stabbing, and this act needs to be condemned. It's very sad it happened to a former Commonwealth member. It can happen to anybody. So I think as a Ghanaian and to the larger Ghanaian community, we should be able to tolerate each other's view. No matter how dissenting it is, we should be able to tolerate it.
Okay, great. It's sad. It's sad. When I heard the news, I was very surprised. I didn't want to believe it was true, but then who are we? It happens, which is unfortunate. Like we said, it should never be repeated. We condemn it. Everyone condemns it. I've spoken to very close friends in Commonwealth Hall. They are disgusted about the issue. Like I said, this is not what they say vandalism is about. Coming from a part in the school where we think common sense should rule, I think in all our dealings we should let common sense judge us. That's the university, it's an intellectual community. So when we are doing things, we should do things with utmost intelligence and in the fullness of wisdom.
Watching Joy News Prime, we're taking a break. We'll bring you business news next. Stay tuned.
Hello, good evening to you. It's now time for business. Cabinet is to discuss a possible merger between the Volta River Authority VRA and the Bui Power Authority BPA. The merger is being proposed to consolidate efforts at increasing hydropower generation. 600 megawatts of power is expected to be generated by the Bui Power Authority in 2018. The move is to help push the renewable energy agenda of government.
Government in a cabinet meeting on the 11th of December is expected to commence talks on a possible merger between Bui Power Authority BPA and the Volta River Authority VRA.
There were some additional requests in terms of the works itself, which brought about the need for additional loan, which was passed by Parliament. It was not just BPA which went ahead to negotiate, but they took the request to Parliament. There was a long debate over it, which lasted for, I think, a month or so. And finally, Parliament gave approval.
Chief Executive Officer of the Bui Power Authority, Alfred Owari, however, says it will be unfortunate to do that, especially when Bui is leading the renewable energy campaign. This came as a result of government's efforts at consolidating all activities of hydropower generating companies. If this occurs, the Bui Power Authority will come with a buyer's credit of over $200 million to pay for loans it contracted for the establishment of the hydropower plant. Authorities say so far the power plant has generated over $335 million through sale of power.
The Electricity Company of Ghana, for instance, owes the Power Authority as much as over $92,000, which constitutes a quarter of the total buyer's credit.
It was never intended to be at par with VRA. Never. We just about 20% of VRA. But we have the capacity, because of where we stand today with the solar, if we are allowed to grow on the trajectory that we found ourselves, the various people we are talking to, the various sites we have acquired in the 3 northern regions, which will be capable to give us more solar energy than has been planned nationally. If we are allowed to grow, I am absolutely certain that in the next 5 years or so, you'll be talking to a very huge authority.
Chief Executive Officer of BPA, in what looked like an appeal to government, said the company was profitable and it will be unfortunate to merge it with VRA.
Even the concessionary loan that Ghana government is paying, there's been an agreement that has been executed between Ghana government and BPA that when we finish paying the buyer's loan, they would have finished paying the concessionary loan, but they would let us pay. So it's been on-lent to us, but we are not paying until we finish paying the buyer's credit. I didn't think that was necessary. But it also tells you how profitable even government acknowledges that this investment is. That the loan that they even took to do other things ancillary to the dam itself, they're saying you have to pay for it.
Meanwhile, the Bui Power Authority is yet to begin the generation of solar and wind power.
And away from that, the second deputy governor of the central bank has denied stepping down from his position. This follows earlier reports by Joy Business that he has resigned and has taken his accumulated leave, leading to his departure from the institution by the end of the month. Victor Kojoga Adaudu is lawyer for Dr. Johnson Isiama.
Yes, he's still at post. Dr. Isiama is still the second deputy governor. He hasn't tendered in any resignation, and nothing of such has taken place.
Was there any communication to senior persons at the bank and even some of his colleagues that he has resigned and that something is being worked out for him before that official letter will come out?
No, I'm not aware of that something was being... all I'm aware is that there have been some skirmishes to see if he could take a bow out. But there has been no communication as to you are buying out or negotiating and this is what you are due and other rest. There's no communication that has been. So I don't see any negotiation. All I know is that there have been some skirmishes to see and that.
What will you describe as skirmishes? As in the fact that he is not comfortable with the package being put together. That is why this red flag is being raised now that he has not resigned.
No, not even about any package. I believe that there's some communication as to making him bow out. And the process has not even kick-started. Nothing has been discussed. So it was a shock to come and say that he has resigned when nothing has been discussed. He hasn't written. I have no knowledge as to any discussion that this has taken place. I've been in it, so this is the instruction that he's still at post. He's an employee of the Bank of Ghana. So if anybody believes or thinks that they want to let him go, I think that the right channel appropriate should be passed, and that should be it.
Now, Deputy Minister for Energy, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, has appealed to LPG marketers in the country to use the right channels to air their grievances so they do not inconvenience the public. He was addressing the 2017 Ghana Oil and Gas Awards at the Kempinski Hotel here in Accra. 31 individuals and organizations were awarded for their various achievements within various stages of the oil and gas industry. The Oil and Gas Awards seek to recognize distinguished and exceptional individuals and corporate entities that have played defining roles in moving the entire value chain of the petroleum industry forward. This year's event was under the theme 10 Years of Oil Discovery, 4 Years of Celebrating Excellence. In all, 31 individuals and organizations from the downstream and upstream sectors were awarded during the period under review. The coordinator for the Association of Oil Marketing Companies, Kwekwa Jumendua, praised the government for handling the illegal fuel sales and said the situation is impacting positively on the association. Deputy Minister of Energy Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, in an address, cautioned LPG marketers to use the right channels to air home their concerns.
We have begun the implementation of some far-reaching policies, including, for instance, the National LPG Promotion Policy. And as I was coming here, my attention was drawn to a threat by LPG marketing companies to the effect that they will be going on demonstration next week. While I appreciate their concerns, I wish to appeal to them to use the opportunity provided them by government to ensure that their concerns are addressed.
The National Petroleum Authority (NPA) was recognized for introducing and implementing clean fuel policy for the downstream sector. CEO of the NPA, Hassan Tampuli, underscored the resolve of the regulator to perform effectively.
Whatever we do, there is a tendency that we'll step on a lot of toes in the industry, because the worst thing that can happen to the industry is to have a weak regulator. We have refused to be a weak regulator, and we'll do whatever is necessary to keep the industry on the straight and narrow, no matter whose ox may be God. And with the support of Mr. Ajimandua and his team, we believe that if we continue to get their cooperation.
Frames Oil Company Limited won the Indigenous Oil Company of the Year, while Petrosol won the Marketing Campaign of the Year. LPG Marketing Company of the Year went to Hales Oil Marketing Company, while Blue Ocean Investment Company was adjudged the BDC Company of the Year. In the upstream sector, Tallow Oil took away Excellence in CSR Award, while GNPC Technip won Excellence in HSEQ Award. Ian Ghana also won the Project of the Year Award. Some representatives of the awardees shared their thoughts with Joy Business.
We won 2 awards. One, which is so dear to me, is the campaign of the year. That's the full quantity campaign. This is something that we took upon ourselves because we've been in the industry for years, and we've realized that a lot of practices have been going on, and we have made it a point that at all Petrosol stations, the consumer must receive full quantity. It's all about service, service, service. I mean, this business is all about committing yourself to serving the customer. Customer service is not a complex thing. I keep saying that it's as simple as saying just be nice, because for someone to make a choice to use his money to come and buy your product, you have no choice but to be nice to that person and make sure you deliver the right product and quality to that person.
Right from your CEO at a global level, and that policy is driven down from the top all the way through the organization.
And that's business tonight. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Emmanuel Apuachi. We are fading. There's more news ahead. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. And a panel constituted by the Chief Justice to look into a petition for the removal of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, has adjourned its proceedings to January next year. This was after the ET chairperson appeared before it on Monday. The appearance before the panel coincided with the formal request made by Madam Charlotte Osei in a letter to President Akufo-Addo for a copy of the petition for her removal. Now, last week, the Chief Justice of Akufo wrote to Charlotte Osei requesting her to respond to allegations made against her. However, in a response, the Chief Justice, Charlotte Osei, stated that she had not received a copy of the petition. Evans Mensah of our Political Desk joins me with more on this. Hello, Evans. Now, thanks for making time. Let's start off with this panel that has been constituted by the Chief Justice to look into the petition. What do we know about this panel, and what do we know about their proceedings today?
So we know that it's going to be headed by Justice Benin, who is a Supreme Court judge, and there are 4, we understand. We're going to have 2 other members who are not members of the judiciary, etc. In fact, we understand that Mr. Brapia, who is PLB board chair or something to that effect, is a member of that board. And in essence, today, they sat for the first time after the prima facie case was made against the EC chairperson. In other words, the Chief Justice had found, after the initial preliminary investigations from July to now, that the EC chairperson indeed has a case to answer. She's then gone ahead to put this committee together to now formally probe and call for hearings. And so all sides were invited today to appear before the committee. The chairperson herself was present, and the other petitioners were as well. We understand that the petitioners initially, there were 14 of them. Only 2 now representing the 14 formally in the formal proceedings, and these 2, we understand, are drivers of the Electoral Commission, who has you have their names on the petition, and we also know that today the EC chairperson raised concerns about the fairness of the procedure, and the fact that possibly the Chief Justice may be violating her constitutional legal rights. In fact, we have intercepted letters she's written to the President separately, and also to the Judicial Service separately, in which she makes these complaints. In fact, the letter she's written to the President, she's asking the President to furnish her with a copy of the petition against her, which is in itself strange, because the President forwarded the petition to the Chief Justice in July. So we are talking about, what, 4 months at least had passed since the petition was sent and the Chief Justice began the investigation. So 4 months after that, she's asking for a formal copy from the President.
So this was the other subject we're going to come to, the letters that she had written to the President. What is contained in these letters? So
she makes the point in the one particularly to the Judicial Service that that she, quote, "I have to this day not been furnished with a copy of the alleged petition." That's one of the claims she makes. Secondly, that after the President had forwarded the petition to the Chief Justice wrote to her asking her to respond if she had a response. She says she did that, but she has since not heard from the Chief Justice until reports emerged that the Chief Justice had in fact concluded her preliminary investigations and had made a prima facie case against her. So her point is, you've made a prima facie case against me, yet since I sent you my response, I have not heard from you. And so she's demanding a formal response to the response she gave to the Chief Justice, and that she will avail herself of the proceedings, but she will not sort of relinquish her constitutional legal rights.
No, there's something that just occurred to me. If she had actually responded to the Chief Justice, on what basis did she respond to the Chief Justice if she had not seen the petition?
Yeah, I mean, so let me read to you what she said herself in the letter she wrote to the Judicial Service. It says, by letter dated 13th day of August, Her Ladyship the Chief Justice informed me that His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana had referred the said petition to Her Ladyship to determine whether or not there is a prima facie case raised by the petition pursuant to Article 1463, for which reason she requested a written response, if any, from me to the allegations contained, and this is a part that's important, contained in the petition, into bracket, not the petition itself. So the point she's making here is...
So the Chief Justice probably indicated the allegations without giving her a copy of the petition.
That's what she's saying. So that's why she's now asking for the petition, that she wants a copy of the petition. formally to be given to her 4 months after the process started. And then she's indicated that she will not relinquish her constitutional and legal right, and that she believes that although she will respect the processes, she will not relinquish those constitutional and legal rights.
And I would want to believe, I'm not sure, but I would want to believe that if she appeared before the panel today, then it's possible that she probably would have made a formal request for the petition.
We understand that happened.
Okay.
And that our sources also tell us that it appears it's true that a few things happened. She in fact has not been given a formal copy of the original petition, and that she was not written to formally communicating to her that a prima facie case has been made against her, and the basis for that prima facie case being made against her. And that since her response to the Chief Justice's invitation, it's also true that we hear that she's not received a formal response from the Chief Justice to her written submissions onto the prima facie.
On what basis would she have then appeared before the panel today?
As she said in a letter to the, in spite of the concern she has, she had indicated that she would still respect the process.
Well, because you had indicated earlier, through communication that we have, that she wasn't formally communicated to the prima facie case had been made against her. But I would want to believe that
she was written to inviting her to appear. So again, one of the concerns that we've heard that was raised today at the meeting was that she was not also told prior to today the composition of the committee that was set up today. And the concern there for those close to her is that if you didn't tell us who the members of the committee are, then we cannot raise an issue, if we indeed have one, about the legitimacy of the individuals on the committee. And that's another question that had come up. And so, well, it's very clear from all that we've seen that she's ready to fight this. Yeah. And Samson Ladayini, a lawyer who has gone through this process before, had indicated that there's a reason why she should write to the president again, 4 months down the line, and send that same letter in essence to the Chief Justice, asking for the official copies, because she wants to compare what petition from the president and what indeed the Chief Justice acted on. Are the differences in there, or are they the same? Then maybe she can decide what next to do.
Thank you very much, Evan Spencer. Evan Spencer is with our political desk here at Joy News. Now, Joy News is Maxwell Agbagba was at the Electoral Commission earlier in the day and made these observations.
The usual hustle and bustle here at the Electoral Commission is conspicuously missing here. That is expected many months after the elections. We were on the premises of the Electoral Commission to find out from some of the workers there how they are going about their duties on the first day that the Electoral Commissioner, together with her two deputies, Mr. Madusile and Madam Georgina Mankwa, are expected to appear before the Chief Justice here on the compound. I've been interacting with some of the workers here. A lot of them are tight-lipped on the issue. They say they don't want to speak to the issue for fear of being victimized. A woman that I spoke to here tells me that even though the petition, we are told, came from the Electoral Commission and was from some concerned workers of the Electoral Commission, she's yet to see the real faces are behind the petition. She says usually the matter would come up in their office. A security man that I spoke to here on this compound tells me that Madam Salatosai herself is not in the office today. And that was confirmed by another worker that I had interaction with. He tells me that he has a source on the premises of the Supreme Court, and that source has communicated to him that he has seen the Electoral Commissioner herself, Madam Salatosai, together with her lawyer in the presence of the Electoral Commission earlier today. That was sometime around 12 o'clock p.m. That source actually mentioned to one of the workers here that Madam Salatosai came to the Supreme Court together with one of her deputies, that is Mr. Amadou Sule. We are also told that the other deputy, Madam Georgina Mankwa, has also been seen at the premises of the Supreme Court, and this has been confirmed by one of the workers here who says his source at the Supreme Court has confirmed that to him. If you come here to the Electoral Commission, work is going on normal at the Human Resource Department. I went there at the General Services Department also. We were there to check for ourselves. Work is going on normal. And all the 2 blocks 7 as offices for the Electoral Commission, work is going on as normal with, with just a little activity on the compound itself. A lot of the people are in their offices. Some of them are also going for their lunch at the time that we arrived here. A lot of them will not speak to us for fear of being victimized. They don't want to speak to us on camera. Even when we told them that we just want to gather some information from them, they were not willing to speak to us for fear of being victimized.
Now, the president of the German Federation, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, is paying a 3-day working visit to Ghana, and it's expected to touch down at the Jubilee Lounge of the Kotoka International Airport. Join News' Latif Idris is there and joins us live. Hello, Latif. Has the German president arrived yet? Hello, Latif. Has the German president arrived yet? It appears Latif is having a difficulty hearing me, but Latif, if you can.
Israel, thank you. And as we speak, the German president has not arrived yet. Yeah, Israel, I can hear you. And I was saying that as we speak, the German president hasn't arrived as at now. But any moment from now, we expect the plane to touch down here at the Jubilee Lounge of the Kotoka International Airport. As we know, the president is paying a 3-day working visit to Ghana. He will be received here at the lounge by the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. After that, we're going to have a very short cultural display by the troop that is gathered here. Then there will be an official welcome. Just after that, the president would depart to, where he will be residing for this whole 3-day visit. Tomorrow, we expect him to visit the Flagstaff House. There's going to be some bilateral talks between the president and our own president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, at the Flagstaff. That will be followed by a signing of a bilateral reform agreement between the 2 countries at the Flagstaff House, which will briefly be followed by a press conference. This is a 3-day working visit, and it's going to run till Wednesday. All this while, there will be solid engagement between the president of Germany and President Akufo-Addo. Back to you, Israel.
Latif Idris, and we will be standing by when the German president touches down. We will be touching base with you again. For the president of the German Federation, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, has actually arrived in Ghana. Joining us, Latif Idris is there, and he's going to bring us an update on that. Hello, Latif. So you tell us what's happening now.
Yeah, Israel, thank you. And just moments ago, we had the president of the Federal Republic of Germany touching down here at the Jubilee Lounge of the Kotoka International Airport. Right in short, you can see Mr. Steinmeier walking shoulder to shoulder with Vice President Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. This is a 3-day official working visit by the President of the Federal Republic of Germany. And just from here, there will be a short cultural display by a cultural troupe that is represented here at the Jubilee Lounge. Then there will be an official welcome by the Vice President. That will be followed by a secret dinner this evening organized for the President of the Federal Republic of Germany. That will end today's activity. Now, it continues tomorrow. Tomorrow, the President of Germany will pay a visit to the Flagstaff House. He will be visiting the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. There will be a bilateral talk between the 2 leaders, which will be followed by signing of some agreements between the 2 countries. Then we're going to have a press briefing by the President of the Republic, Nana Akufo-Addo, and the President of the Federal Republic of Germany, Mr. Steinmeier. Then he will wrap it up on Wednesday. This is a 3-day working visit, as I mentioned, and today marks the beginning of that visit. We can see in short right now the President of the Federal Republic of Germany shaking hands with officials who are gathered here with the Vice President. We have the Foreign Minister, also we have the Interior Minister, all of them backing the Vice President to give a warm welcome to the President of the Federal Republic of Germany, Israel.
Is bringing that update there from the Kotoka International Airport. We're taking it. In other news, President Akufo-Addo has called for the integration of milestones set under the Sustainable Development Goals in programs and activities of African governments to end poverty and unemployment on the continent. According to him, the 17 goals set under the SDGs may not be realized unless it is adopted as part of the development plans of government. Leading a roundtable discussion on the SDGs report on Africa, President Akufo-Addo said though the goals expected to be achieved by 2030 hold greater hope for Africa, only committed and selfless leadership can fast-track their realization.
SDGs will take bold ambition in thought and actions, creativity, innovation, hard work, and most critically, connecting to the positive and abundant energies of the youth. Second, the story of Africa's hitherto inability to develop is primarily the story of bad governance and our damaging colonial heritage. We must make governance and our governance systems work for the eradication of poverty and the creation of prosperity and wealth. And as we embark on this path, we must commit to building accountable and transparent institutions. Third, we cannot grow out of poverty and achieve the SDGs through charity and the benevolence of others. If we are going to succeed to move Africa beyond aid, this cannot be a mere slogan. It will take doing business differently and making the tough choices necessary to accelerate inclusive growth in the economy. Fourth, there's no doubt in my mind that a key accelerator to achieving the goals is a strong and vibrant private sector, which has the space to grow and flourish.
The United Nations adopted the Sustainable Development Goals last year to end poverty and address issues of gender discrimination and inclusiveness, among others. President Akufo-Addo, who is a co-chair of the SDG's eminent personalities of advocates, is tasked to rally political and financial support on the continent to achieve the target. The two-day roundtable discussion aims to scale up efforts at fighting poverty and hunger. But for him, corruption remains an issue the continent must address.
If you have a goal and you want to get people to accept it and do something with it, you have to mobilize the support. So it means that what we're talking about here has to be part and parcel of the national discourse in each of our countries. The 53 states of Africa, the goals set out in the 2030 agenda, just as the 2063 agenda of the AU, must be part and parcel of the domestic political dialogue. We're talking about a situation whereby parliaments, political parties, all through the system, take this as part of the conversation, as part of their appeal. For instance, here in Ghana, the Ghanaian constitution requires a president within 2 years of taking office to put before the parliament a coordinated program of social and economic policies and actions the president will take. Most of the time it has taken my predecessors 2 years to do it. I've done it within the first year.
The president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, rather wants deliberate attention on encouraging private sector investment to ensure growth and poverty reduction.
integrating the SDGs into these plans and ensuring the implementation cannot be successfully achieved by government alone. This is why strong collaboration with the private sector throughout the process is critical for reaching a win-win situation. For example, the financing gaps for major projects can be filled by private sector investment through appropriate de-risking mechanisms provided by the public sector and other partners. Second, we now have an ambitious development framework to engage all countries rather than just developing ones.
The Hospitality Institute, to position Ghana to fully exploit its tourism potential, is expected to be established in January next year. Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Catherine Afeku, at an annual retreat for agencies under her ministry in the Volta Regional Capital, said the institute should supply the human resource needed in the tourism sector, which has the greatest potential to turn the country's fortunes around. Fred Kwame Asari's report.
The Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister noted some of the successes chalked by her ministry in the year under review, including getting CNN to advertise Ghana for the next 18 months and the Marine Drive project, which she says would commence before the year ends. She outlined her objective to build 3 art theaters across the country, ensure all tourism legislative instruments are passed, and establish a hospitality institute in 2018.
A school to train Ghanaians in the hospitality industry must start. That's how I push myself. My 3 things for 2017, I met 2. I still call it a failure. As a leader, I think I should have gotten the CNN, gotten the Marine, and the school. I don't want to use the name because I don't want to use that name come January 1st, 2018. There should be a new name, Ghana Tourism Hospitality School.
Mrs. Afeku, however, made it clear she would not tolerate mediocrity from her staff.
It will be business unusual starting Monday. If you are a director in any of the agencies in this ministry and you are not performing, you should know it yourself. If you are a director and you are not living up to your standard, you should go on your knees, seek guidance from your maker and pull your weight, because we are not going to tolerate anyone just being slacking or just doing business as usual. No.
The retreat was to give officials of the various agencies a platform to discuss activities of the year under review, identify challenges, and map out new strategies towards achieving targeted objectives for the coming years. Fred Kwame Asari's report for Joy News.
Joy News' campaign highlighting various inequalities across the country this week takes us to the Lambusia district in the Upper West region, which recorded 84 severely malnourished children between January and November 2017. The situation is so dire that sometimes 11-month-old babies weigh as low as 3.9 kilograms. District nutrition officers blame it on inadequate food. Jojo Kobna shares a story of Agnes, who eats once a day because she is unable to afford food, and as a result is unable to produce enough breast milk to feed her son.
35-year-old Agnes is a peasant farmer. Her farm did not do well this year, so she helps other farmers who had a great year to harvest rice so they can support her with food. Her husband died 5 years ago, leaving her with the burden of taking care of her 5 children. She tells me life is a real squeeze and sometimes unbearable because she cannot feed her children properly.
Is life hard for you?
Life is beyond hard. Sometimes I get very angry at life.
Now Agnes has 2 more children and has the responsibility of feeding 7 hungry mouths. I inquired why she had 2 more children when she could not take care of the 5 children. She dropped her eyes and did not answer my question. Rather, she laughed and told me she cannot disclose that sensitive information to a total stranger. But community health workers explained that when her husband died, she was inherited by the brother-in-law.
According to the tradition here, after the husband has passed away, another man from the family married her as second wife. But currently, as I'm speaking, according to her, the man is at Munahafo region doing farming activities with the other wife. And she's here with 7 children. Feeding has become difficult. So she's not able to get food to eat. And because of that, there's not enough breast milk for the mother to feed the baby. And currently, the baby has become malnourished.
Culturally, her brother-in-law is supposed to give her security and also provide for her children. But he only succeeded in giving her 2 more children she cannot afford to feed. Her 11-month-old baby is severely malnourished, and health workers feel if he does not improve soon, he may be a statistic of under 5 mortality.
So this is not just due to maybe energy and protein, but also micronutrient deficiency as well. So within the red zone, that means the child is malnourished. The yellow zone means that the mother have to be careful to make sure that she feeds the child well, so that the child does not progress to malnutrition. And the green is normal. So we want to take the MWAC, the measurement, that is the upper arm circumference of the child, okay, mid circumference of the child. Okay. So the child is within the red zone, that is 9. It's 9 centimeters. The borderline is 11.5. So he has gone far below the 11.5 to 9 centimeters. So this child is a typical malnourished case in the district. At the 10th month, which is October, of the child, so the child weight was supposed to be between 8 to 11 kg, but the child is still lagging behind, as low as 3.9 kg. So this means that the child is severely wasted or severely underweight.
Health workers have referred her to Jirapa District Hospital. That journey is expected to last an hour, but she cannot go because she cannot afford the cost of treatment.
We pleaded with her to go to Jirapa Hospital to receive inpatient care. If she leaves to Jirapa, the other siblings that are at the house, there will not be anybody that will be taking care of them. And at the end, maybe probably she will come back and they will also be sick. So that's why she prefers staying with the other siblings and then the one that is malnourished. And then she's catering for all of them at the house.
Throughout the interview, Agnes laughs and giggles, so I inquired how come she smiles through such difficult times.
You think I'm happy, but I am worried. I'm tired of being depressed. I don't have time to be worried. Now I think about how to survive. I eat once a day, but I try to feed my children twice a day. My tears are finished.
Agnes has braced herself for months. Based on advice of nutrition officers, she has stocked beans for protein.
So in here, beans.
Agnes has preserved the beans with ash so that insects cannot eat them.
So I picked the corn from this bag. This bag contains maize that she has to rely on between now and December. What she eats after December is uncertain. And so that is the reason why she's worried.
This is Joy News Prime.
Time now for a quick look at our top stories here on Joy News Prime. And the Electoral Commission's chairperson has written to President Akufo-Addo for a copy of a petition seeking to remove her from office. It comes even as the Chief Justice begins to hear from the petitioners. The Eastern Regional Health Directorate has intensified surveillance at Koforidua Sectech after meningitis claimed the life of a student there. Prepaid customers of the Electricity Company of Ghana are still unable to buy electricity despite assurances by the company that the challenges which rendered their cards inactive have been resolved. In Business Cabinet to discuss possible merger between Bui Power Authority and the Volta River Authority to consolidate efforts at increasing hydropower generation. And the Information Minister is pleading with Ghanaians to bear with government over challenges plaguing the free SHS implementation.